So when I say living in the village changed my life, this is what I mean. So good morning. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Haoma_KE. Feel free to like, comment, and also if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, do not forget to click that subscribe button. So welcome to today's video. I am taking for breakfast, I'm taking black tea with roasted maize. So I have a ton of activities that I'm doing in the farm, so stay tuned, do not go anywhere, and watch this video till the end. So before I head on to the farm, I had this maize that had remained in the farm when we were harvesting, so I didn't shed them. So I just want to dry them. They are already dried, but I just want to aerate them so that I can start shelling them just the manual way, and then start with the other activities. So in my last video, some of you, not all of you, were concerned with me planting the western seeds. I will call them western seeds because most of you were thinking like they were GMO, but in the packets the seeds were written organic. So most of the time I always love trying out different types of seeds. Like the baby spinach, I've never found the seeds here, the local seeds, but I'm a lover of indigenous seeds, indigenous vegetables. If you've been following my channel for some time now, you know I love planting the indigenous vegetables, the likes of jute leaves, spider plant, the cowpeas, those types of vegetables. That's what I always plant here in my farm. But sometimes when I get different types of seeds, it's not bad to try it out. So don't worry, I've not turned my farm to GMO. I was just trying out new seeds that I was gifted, and I just had to try it out in my farm and see if it will grow. So today I will be planting the collard greens, or what we call the kales. So I just want to get the sodas so that I can use the sodas for mulching. You know, we are receiving rain right now. During November, we'll receive rain November, but during December, it will be very dry. So I'm just preparing the ground for the dry season, and the best way to prepare the ground is by mulching. So that's what I'm doing. I'll be mulching most of my crops during this season. You'll be seeing me mulching most of my crops because we'll be receiving very little rain. So yesterday evening I planted these bell peppers, or in our local language or local name we call them hoho. So these are green bell peppers, and I've planted also the yellow bell peppers in the pots or the small containers. So I just want to mulch this, and when the ones in the containers are fully they're a little bit taller, I'll transplant them now to the ground. So because we are still in the phase of little rain, we are not receiving a lot of rain, so that's why you're seeing me mulching. And so these are our strawberries. They have really grown. They were I planted only 4 of them, and they have propagated to so many of them, and even some have started flowering. So soon we'll be harvesting a lot of strawberries on this other side of the farm. So the main reason I did this video is because I wanted to uproot a majority of the collard greens. Collard greens, we call them collard greens, but our local name that we are used to is the sukuma wiki or the kales. In English, we call kales here in Kenya. So I want to remove the suckers so that I can plant them the bigger space of the farm, and also most of them have already fully matured. And I think this time round I didn't mulch or And also I didn't manure well my collards. That's why you're seeing them very tiny. Most of the time I have very big kales. The leaves are always big, very soft. But this time round, because I didn't manure them very well, they did not perform a lot. But maybe because I have a lot of vegetables here in the farm, that's why I tend to neglect some. And the reason why I planted the collard greens on this backside of the farm is because there are not so many birds here. If I planted them on the other side of the farm, they will be eaten, the leaves will be eaten, fully eaten by the birds on the other side. The other side, at the front part of the farm, we have a lot of birds, and those birds have very long tail. They're very notorious. They love eating vegetables, the black nightshade, or what we call managu. That's why you do not see me planting managu here. I've tried, and the moment they just shoot, they're eaten, fully eaten. And also the beans on that side, I rarely plant beans. That's why I've planted the peas and also the groundnuts, because of just birds. Birds are really terrorizing me. So I want to clear this area so that I can now replant them again, because we are entering December. Most of the time, December and January and February, we do not have vegetables. So any person who has vegetables, especially if you have a lot of vegetables, you will sell them very expensive, and you will gain, and also you will also gain in terms of saving some cash, or because of not buying vegetables. And also you'll be getting some cash because you're selling your vegetables. So that's what I'm doing today. And also the reason why I plant the sucker kales, I do not plant the other kales, the one for seed bed. I prefer planting the sucker kales because you'll never miss to have kales in your farm, because they stay for longer. Like these kales, I've never bought the suckers for the last 3 years. So the suckers have stayed here, the kales have stayed here in our farm for around 4 years. So what I always do, anytime I see them, they are fully matured, I uproot them and then pick out the suckers and then plant again. So what I'm doing right now, the ones that are too long, I will not plant them. What I'm going to do, I'll just pick the leaves so that I can use for vegetables today. And also because there will be so many, I will also use them for around 2 weeks or 1 week. I'll just freeze them in the fridge and then use them for longer. So also today my neighbor is still logging, so I'll be lowering down the background voice because the logging is too much today. I think he's almost completing with the cutting of the trees, because he wants to fence his farm. His farm is just adjacent to our farm, so it's around 1 acre. So he wants to cut down all the trees and then use the trees to fence his farm. That's why you'll see me lowering down the volume now and then. So I'll be digging a little bit deeper holes, because our suckers scales are a little bit longer. And so, and the reason why it's good to plant the mature suckers is because they withstand all weather, especially if it is dry. They will not die. They will just start, they will really grow well, apart from those tiny ones, the smaller ones. So if you get the mature suckers, just take them and also just plant them. And because I have my little helper here, my son is still doing his final exams, primary section. So that's why he's not been around our videos lately. but my little helper Myla will be dropping the suckers into the holes so that I do not just go back and again start dropping. So she's helping me out in that section, so I'll be digging the holes as she drops the kales inside the holes. Then I'm going to apply the sawdust and the compost in the hole, and then plant, and then also mulch after. I hope it rains today, because so that I do not need to water my kales after I'm done. So if you're not near an area that you can get access to the cow dung or the goat or the chicken manure, sawdust is a very organic compost manure. It decomposes very fast, and the beauty about it, like here in my farm, uh, the the termites really do not come near sawdust, because I think because of the smell of the wood. So that's what I've experienced. Anytime I apply sawdust for mulching, the termites do not come near. But if I apply the dry grass, the termites tend to really invade the farm. So if you are not near the compost manure, the cow dung or the chicken manure or even the goat or just animal manure, so and you're able to get access to the sawdust, either the fine sawdust or the ones that have big chunks like the ones I have, you can use sawdust as a very good organic compost manure. So I'm almost done with the planting. I'm remaining with just a little section of the area, and then I'll start putting applying now mulching the sawdust on top of every kale that I've planted, and then that will be it on this side of the farm. So here in the village, it's always very easy to access the sawdust, and they always sell 90 kgs at 90 kg of sack at 50 shillings, 50 Kenya shillings. So it's easier to get the sawdust. So soon all this area I will apply the sawdust, because our ground really gets very hard after a very short while, especially if it doesn't rain for just a week. You will feel like it has never rained for almost a year. So soon I'm just going to make the whole place have the sawdust, so that it can be moist, the whole place can be moist, and it will be easier for the ground to retain all the water, and so the plants will do really well. So I'm done applying all the sawdust. So I'm just going to prepare lunch for the kids, and then take some rest, and then start preparing our supper. So for lunch, we took rice and beans, and then suddenly the weather has just changed from nowhere. So it means that it will rain, and I do not have to water my collards. So after the rain has stopped, I want to harvest some amaranth. I do not plant amaranth here in my farm. They just grow widely. So they are wild amaranth. I do not plant mine here. I've never planted amaranth. So I just want to harvest some so that I can use them and mix them with the kales so that I can also soften the kales. And amaranth are very good especially for kids. They're very good in iron, and they're very good in generally they are very nutritious vegetables, and even in the cities they sell them. I'm always surprised when I see somebody selling amaranth, because I know most of the time amaranth grows as a wild weed, and most of the time we just feed on them. So just here in my farm I do not plant, so I just want to harvest amaranth, and then I will look for a little bit of carrots and also the red onions, so that I can use them to cook our today's meal. So I've been harvesting the red onions for some time, and these ones, they have remained here for a little while, and I just want to see if I can harvest just a few. But I still have some red onions that we planted the other day, and they're still doing very fine. So I just want to harvest like 3 or 4, or any red onion that is already doing well and it is ready. That's what I'm harvesting right now. Also, let me check if there are some carrots here. I always plant my vegetables in phases, so I have very tiny carrots that I planted like 2 weeks ago. I have some that I planted like a month ago, and I have some that I planted like 1 month and a half ago. So that means I'll always have tons of carrots here in my farm. And this area, because the turmeric have invaded this area, I want just the ones that are here, I want to just uproot the remaining carrots and then let this area be fully turmeric. So this is some good number of vegetables that I've harvested today. So I just want to go and wash them and then start preparing our supper. So if you've been on this channel for a while now, you know I love planting my own vegetables. If it is something that the soil can it can do well here in our soil, I always try as much as possible to plant it. But some vegetables I've tried planting them and they do not do well. So like the cabbages and also for the black nightshade, it's only because of the birds, but they always do well. Maybe if one day I purchase the greenhouse, that's when I think I can have tons of amaranth, not amaranth, the black nightshade. And also the tomatoes, they tend to, because we receive a lot of rain here, they tend to not doing well. I think that's the reason why tomatoes are very expensive here in the village, because most of the time they come from the central part of Kenya coming this side. So we always buy tomatoes at one tomato as at 10 shillings, which is very expensive, especially if it is somebody who does not have enough money. It is very hard for them to purchase the tomatoes. So for supper today, I'm preparing fish, the brown ugali, and some vegetables. So that's why because I had so many kales, I want just to add a lot of amaranth so that it can soften our kales and then it will be very sweet. If you know, you know. If you have ever taken kales with either mixed with either spinach or amaranth, you know how sweet your kale can be. So this is just why I always say life in the village changed me completely, because some of these things I wouldn't have been doing if I was living in the city. So, and because our amaranth is harvested after I harvested it after the rains, so it means they have a lot of soil. So I'm going to I'm going to wash them 3 times or 4 times so that all the soil can come out and have very clean amaranth or vegetables. So for the kales, it's very easy. Some people fry their kales with just onions, but me, I really love my kales with tomatoes. So I'm going to fry, I've already fried the onions, and then I've put the tomatoes so they are fully cooked. And then I'll keep on adding the kales while I turn it so that they can reduce down, so that they all enter into this sufuria. They all fit in this sufuria. So that's what I'll do, and then I'll not cook them for a very long time, like 5 minutes, and then they will be done. That's how I prepare my kales, my collard greens, or any other vegetables that need just very little time of cooking. So 5 minutes later, our kales are ready. So I just want to start preparing our fish, and then I'll cook our brown ugali. So our fish, I'm going to put the onions and then let them cook just a little bit. I do not like overcooking the onions because it destroys the taste in the onions. And then I've put the garlic and the ginger in together. And then I'm going to add our tomatoes, let them cook a little bit for them to soften up. I'm not a lover of blending the tomatoes. I do not know why. I just love that local way of cooking, the same way our grandmothers used to cook. They never had the blenders and also the things to pound the tomatoes. So me, I just love that indigenous way of cooking food. Especially if I had time, I'll just cook it in the pot, just putting everything inside, and then put the fish, and then put some little bit of water, and then cover it, and then wait until it cooks. But now this is just my easier way of cooking the fish. I'm going to cover and then let the tomatoes cook really well. I forgot to harvest the bell peppers. I still have some in the farm, but right now dark, I'm not going to go back to the farm. And then I've cut the fish into pieces. Because of time, I did not buy the fresh, the ones that are not deep fried, but the place that I always buy the fish, they deep fry when you see the fish. So when I come home, I just dip them in hot water just to remove that oil, because you do not know if the oil had stayed for some time, and then now start cooking. That's how I prepare my fish. If you buy your fish from the market after it has already been deep fried in the oil, the best way to just be safe with it is just dipping it into hot water and then cook it. So I'm going to let it cook for a while, like 5 minutes. Fish cook very fast, so if you let them stay in fire for a long time, they'll overcook and start breaking out. So if you want them to remain in full or whole, do not overcook it. So I'm just going to let them simmer just a little bit, then add some milk. If you have the cream, the coconut cream, this is the time to add it. And then I'm just going to put out the fire and then cover it and then let it just simmer out of the fire. So now this is my favorite part. I take time to eat brown ugali, but when I eat it, I have to eat it with the best accompaniment, either fish or the dried meat, or sometimes if I go low, with omena. So when you're preparing your brown ugali, make sure you cook it under low heat, so that it can, because it takes time for the lumps to come out. So if you cook it with high heat, it will start burning out before it starts cooking or fully cooked. So the best secret or the best way to cook it is just lower down the heat and then start stirring. Cooking brown ugali is not for the faint-hearted. If you know you do not have patience, if your hand cannot stir a lot, and I'm not going to cook a lot of brown ugali because the younger ones, Myla and Elsie, do not love. They will start saying, "Mom, what is this? This is chocolate. This is what?" So just because of that, I'll prepare them white ugali, and me and my son and my husband will take the brown ugali. But also him is not a lover of brown ugali, but me and my son, this is our favorite food. So our brown ugali, as you can see, the more you stir your brown ugali, the lumps will start coming out. So our brown ugali is almost ready. And also do not put a lot of flour. It's supposed to be a little bit sticky, just the same way you see it here. That's how you cook ugali, because the moment you remove it from fire, it will start hardening. So our brown ugali is ready. I'm super excited, don't mind me. So our brown ugali is ready. I'm going to serve and then enjoy our supper. So I'm going to serve the kids. If you have watched this video till here or till the end, thank you so much. You are a blessing to this channel. Be blessed. Always come back to watch my videos. Feel free to comment, like, and also share the video, and you will be blessed. So let me serve the food, and then I will see you in my next video. So it's bye-bye.